Hey guys, welcome back. Season 2. It's our first season 2 for Red Twit and anything. I guess we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're doing
Look
great.
who's back. Taylor.
Hi guys.
We got more people in the back, but they're not clapping. But great stuff. I told you guys last time you saw us, I was going to see you on kickoff. I hope you enjoyed that little skit we have for you guys. But season 2, new stuff. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started.
We got 2 weeks worth of stuff, but we're gonna go with the most recent stuff and the juicy stuff.
Juicy stuff.
Starting with, you want to start with this. Bucks over the Eagles, week 2. Why do you find a problem with that?
I think it's a major upset, man.
Nah.
Like, I mean, come on, the defending champs Eagles losing to the Bucks, which did, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, mediocre last year. I know their quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick is hot and everything right now. They're 2-0. They're 2-0. He's kicking ass. So I give it to him, but. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't have thought of a team like the Bucks, given what they did last year, overtaking the Eagles. Man, like I think it's an upset. I think that was something that most people were not expecting.
I disagree with you because if you saw game 1 on how the Bucks performed, Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's on another level right now. This guy's been playing in the league, I think, 10 plus years. I don't think there's anything that, he hasn't done before on the field. Like, playing 10 plus years, that's a lot of games. And he's hardly ever injured. So he's always available, if it's a bench quarterback or he's coming in for the starter because he just finished throwing 3 interceptions. Point is, they know what he's about. And it's but yes, he's on another level right now. He's taking it to another step. And
obviously,
with that coming off of week 1, and you got Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans as your receivers, those guys can outrun anybody in the NFL. And if Ryan Fitzpatrick, all he got to do is throw the ball up there. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time he throws, in the last 2 games, he's been throwing an open guy. I just didn't see the upset. One, because Eagles didn't have Carson Wentz, and Eagles don't have the exact same defense from last year. And they do have a couple injuries on their offensive line. So Eagles are going to be a good team, but it's the NFC East, and I feel I don't know. The NFC East is either really bad or really good.
So can I call you on it? Are you gonna think that the Eagles aren't gonna be the team that they were last year?
No, they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
There you go. You heard it first.
No. I think they're gonna be a playoff team, but I don't think they're gonna be
They're not gonna be the powerhouse they were last year.
No, they're not. I think Carson Wentz he's not gonna pick up right where he left off. Like, I mean, you've been playing football since you were a little kid every single day, and then you don't play football for a couple months. It takes a toll on you. Look at Andrew Luck. He won the second game, but the first game, it was trash. But
I get what you're saying with sure, the Bucks got some weapons. I'm not saying that they don't have some weapons. They definitely had some weapons last year.
They got okay defense.
They had a decent defense, and they're a nice, fresh team. They got a young kind of team kind of going on. They've been doing that for the past, year or 2. But yeah, obviously, given the win, they obviously have they've figured out their cards. And they've got a winning strategy. Yeah,
well, good luck to the Bucks this year. I think you guys are going to do great.
Man.
I picked the Ryan Fitzpatrick on my fantasy. I was 0-2, so I had pretty much first priority waiver.
You got a lot of points.
So I picked him up, and he's starting for me next week. That's irrelevant to this next subject, though. The Jags over the Patriots. Patriots 1-1.
Oh, yeah.
Starting the season off.
Oh, yeah.
Jags 2-0. Dominating performance last game. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to point it out, man. Me and you were talking earlier this week, and you gave me some flack about Blake Bortles, especially when I tried to mention that I was like, look, Blake Bortles can match up to the likes of Prescott, the likes of Newton, and the guy knows how to use his legs. He's got a similar statue, and what do you know? They went against the friggin' the Pats, man. Like, I almost want to go, I told you so, but it is early in the season, so I don't want to toot my horn too much. But the guy made some shit happen.
Blake Bortles had a great game. Just how he had a great game against Pittsburgh last year to get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But just how the very next week at the AFC Championship, he didn't play that great. They didn't win. That's how I feel about Blake Bortles after this week. This is the Patriots. They got blown out a couple years ago by Kansas City, like 40-something, like I don't know what, and they go on to the Super Bowl. Last year, you know, they had a rough start again. When was it that they didn't have Brady, and they went on to the Super Bowl and win it that year?
Yeah.
Point is, this is the Patriots. I feel Patriots have one loss a month. They usually told them 4, you know, and there's only 16 games. You know, and so I feel they have about one. They have their first loss where it's a blowout. Belichick gets on everybody, does some corrections. They go on like an 8-game win streak. Then they go on another, like, maybe they lose 2 in a row, and then people are talking about it all over again. But then they go on and not lose a game until they go to the Super Bowl. And they're gonna have their couple losses. This was one of them. Blake Bortles played a great game, but I don't think he's gonna come back and be able to do it again. I mean, I saw some of the stuff that you said it happened, but that doesn't happen enough for me to compare to Cam Newton. Cam Newton, you know, he's been in the Super Bowl. He's been in the Super Bowl. That's a great thing to have on your resume.
Yep.
But a lot of the seasons, the wins, you know, don't compare. But he is a great player, better than Blake Bortles.
I think when Cam Newton when he went to the Super Bowl, they only had what, 1 loss that year?
Yeah, 15-1.
Yeah, 15-1. They damn near went undefeated. So yeah, that's a great resume. My point is, when I mentioned that to you, is that, like, Blake Bortles is a guy that has a similar stature, you know, physical wise, to Prescott and Cam Newton, and that he's abnormally kind of short for a quarterback. He's abnormally kind of big for a quarterback. He's not like the tall, lanky kind of quarterback that you see from, like, the likes of, like, you know, Tom Brady or something like that. And I honestly feel like he's a quarterback that can kind of make plays happen.
Well, just to entertain your thought there, I disagree with that, but I do say I compare him closer to Big Ben, man. Throwing the ball out there, throwing the ball deep.
Well, Blake
interception.
Bortles doesn't throw a ball deep.
But, like, and when he does, it gets intercepted, and, like, half the time that's what happens with Big Ben.
He doesn't have it, and I will agree with that. Blake Bortles does not have a deep arm.
I mean, he can throw it there, but it's not accurate.
No, not at all. But he does have weapons for the guy. When it comes down to it, sure, his coaching staff and his team might not have the best, thought in him or whatever, or the best, respect for him or whatnot. But the guy knows how to get first downs. Period.
Well, this is the only thing. The Jags are a good team. I don't want to sound like this bashing on Blake Bortles. It doesn't mean he's not on a good team. He's on a good team, and he contributes to most of the wins. Why? By not turning it over. That's how he contributes.
He doesn't turn it over.
It's not the best way to contribute, but hey, if you don't turn it over, and if you have a good defense, that means you have more chances to probably score. So this is my thing. They were up 10 points, going into the fourth quarter in the AFC Championship last year. And Tom Brady scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. All these guys had to do is maybe get 1 field goal and you would have been fine.
Sure.
Or 2 field goals, you would have been fine. But Blake Bortles and his team are going to do good this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to go playoffs back-to-back again.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't see them coming out of the division. I see Big Ben. Big Ben's defense sucks. The Steelers' defense sucks, but I do see them going further in the playoffs just because of Antonio Brown and Big Ben, if they stay healthy. But moving on to My favorite team in the NFL. You see the
Mine
jersey.
too.
I'm
Mine
excited
too.
for this
Don't blow
season.
me off
We're gonna
there.
talk about in the most biased way possible about how we feel after the Cowboys started 1-1. I'm gonna start first on this. So I feel we have a very, very similar start to how we started in 2016, Dak's and Zeke's rookie year in the NFL. They didn't win the first game. They had the ball last to try to score in the last couple of seconds and try to either tie the ball game or win the ball game. Dak Prescott's and Zeke Elliott's first game was against the Giants, and they lost that game by 1 possession, back in 2016. This game they lost against Carolina, very similar defenses at the time for the Giants against Carolina, and Dak Prescott didn't play the last preseason game in 2016 because he was named the starter the preseason game before that. And he didn't play at all the last 2 preseason games this year. So, come back to week 2, both seasons, back in 2016 and now. Dak Prescott plays an almost perfect game. He didn't throw lights out for 5 touchdowns, no. He threw 160 yards, 1 touchdown pass, and he ran for a good amount of yards, which he did almost the exact same. Point is, he did what you asked Blake Bortles to do, not turn over the ball, which something he didn't do a lot back in 2016 with only 4 interceptions. I think the Cowboys are in a good spot right now. 1-1, 1-0 in the division. You got the Eagles coming up in a couple of weeks. You got Redskins after that. We'll see what happens. But the next game is coming up is Seahawks. And the way the Seahawks offensive line has been looking the last 2 weeks, did you see the Monday night game against the Bears?
No, I didn't.
That was horrible.
But I heard about it.
It was horrible for both offenses. But the greater defense stood out, and it showed why, because it scored more points than the other defense. I can't name a single guy in the defense for the Seahawks, but Khalil Mack for the Bears made his name in Monday Night Football. There's a reason.
Who ended up winning that game?
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears, because of their
Hawks.
defense.
Dang, Jesus.
The Hawks are 0-2. They have their first opener against the Cowboys this Sunday. But I think it's going to be a tough game for the Cowboys. But if that O-line plays anything close to the way they played the last 2 games for the Seahawks, this defensive line for the Cowboys is going to make Russell Wilson pay, and the Seahawks will drop to 0-3. That is my most biased way of evaluating the Cowboys as of right now. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna backstep a moment, and I'm gonna put my cards right out on the table immediately.
You ain't got no cards.
And well, I guess my phone in that matter. And just say that the week before this past
Week
game,
1? Yeah.
Week 1 against the Panthers or against Carolina. Absolutely revoltingly disappointing.
Very.
I absolutely hated that game. They had no answers for Cam. Cam was able to get it in the air and get it on the ground, whether it was through his running back or through himself. He
ran for a touchdown.
He made more running yards and more rushing yards than his running back did.
Yep.
During that game. And I was expecting through that game to see the same from Dak Prescott. I was hoping, all right, here we go, week 1, Carolina, we're gonna come in and
That did happen.
Dak Prescott is gonna give as much with his legs as he is with his arms, and it's gonna look like,
That happened in the 4th quarter. Too late though.
Yo,
Too late.
Too little, too late. Mm-hmm. Against the Giants, looked way better.
Right off the bat,
better.
he scared them with that deep bomb.
Yeah.
For the touchdown to
Boom.
Tavion Austin.
Just done. It was a whole nother Dallas when it came to the Giants, which is what, after that disappointing loss against Carolina, is what I was expecting, because I was like, God, and I was thinking to myself, seeing that New York was the next one after Carolina, I was like, God damn it, Dallas. If you lose against the freaking bullshitty ass last year, freaking Eli Manning in his worst ever
offensive line
ever. God damn it, if you lose to these guys, I'm just
okay,
just
in
gonna...
2 minutes, in 2 minutes, in less than 2 minutes, what's going on with F1?
All right,
Go.
so F1, to segment there. A lot of things changing up, mostly drivers. A lot of races there. I know we haven't touched on that in a while. But just to put out some big points real quick. To start off, I know you've been a big fan of your underdog there, Fernando Alonso, racing for McLaren. It came out a couple of weeks ago, I'd say probably close to a month now. He's retiring from F1.
Yep, I heard.
He is no longer in the drive for McLaren. McLaren is scooping up Carlos Sainz, which is racing for Renault right now, to fill his spot. Fernando's teammate, Stoffel Vandoorne, is also possibly out of a drive. Little shake-up period with McLaren there.
What's going on with other drivers around?
The next big one that came soon after was Daniel Ricciardo, which is the number one guy for, or I'd say him and Max Verstappen are very neck and neck. He is now moving over to Renault, which, since Carlos Sainz is moving over to McLaren, he is filling in for Carlos Sainz's spot. So there's some shuffling kind of going on there. Surprising, since Red Bull has had so many problems with the Renault power plant and everything this year, and neither one of them being very happy with it. To see Ricciardo moving over to the works team for the engine that hasn't been really working for him, to go over and full-blown race for them is a little bit like, what are you doing? And then just recently, this weekend, my favorite race of the season, which is Suzuka, which is in Singapore. Street race, got the most turns of any racetrack out of the circuit for the year. 23 turns. About half of them 90-degree turns. At that. Very dangerous. Very, very slow, low downforce, very tight circuit. During that whole race and everything, I was watching the practices and stuff for that, and it got dropped on me like an atom bomb. As we know, Kimi Räikkönen, which is the number 2 guy for Ferrari, has been very hush-hush and shaky, not wanting to answer any interviews or anything for his future in F1, since, like a lot of drivers this season, his contract is coming up and everything.
Okay, last point.
Came out to say that he's moving to Sauber, which is the Swedish team that he originally started with.
Well,
now that he's moving, some could say backwards in a way, come to find out through that move, my prediction earlier this year, when I was talking about Charles Leclerc, the new hot rookie that's racing for Sauber, been putting them on the map consistently, and talking about how he's a Ferrari driver, moved up through the Ferrari school and everything, and to think that, like, hey, what happened, contemplating look at it like, hey, what if we had Sebastian Vettel, a seasoned driver, with this hot new rookie? Well, now with Räikkönen moving to Sauber, guess who gets to fill his spot? Charles Leclerc.
Well, it looks like Sebastian Vettel.
So now for next year, we got my prediction coming true, and my fan theory kind of coming through.
Well, you heard it here first.
We're gonna see this hot new rookie racing along this, right now at least, 4-time world champion, seasoned driver over in a top team.
All right, Terry, you remember how to lead us out?
Sure. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube here at Red Twit Entertainment.
Also on Facebook.
Also on Facebook.
Same name.
Same name, Red Twit Entertainment. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at 1in_th3_kitchen. And
in the kitchen.
in the kitchen.
That's the end of our.
Yeah, that's the end of everything. So
We'll see you guys
see
later.
y'all next week.
We're gonna smart talk while they cut the camera off.
Yeah.
Space Jam 2, man.
Space Jam 2, man.